Hello there and welcome to Positive TV. I'm on top of the balcony here, which is the headquarters of Positive TV, and I'm joined here by the lovely Will Day, the appointed chair of Sustainable Development Commission. Is that a bit of a mouthful?
Yes.
Did I get that right?
Yeah, call it the SDC if you would like.
SDC, that's far more easier. The first question, thank you very much for joining us by the way. The first question is sustainable development, as it was a bit of a mouthful for me. What exactly does that involve?
Well, it's a good question because actually the world is so full of jargon, and sustainable and development are both kind of jargon words in some ways, but it's actually quite simple. It simply says if we want a long-term happy future for ourselves, for our children and for their children, we need to pay particular attention to the way we treat the planet and the way we treat each other. And if we are going to make good decisions, we need to bear that and take that into account as we make those decisions.
You've had quite an impressive history, from what I understand. You've worked with the United Nations Development Programme, Children in Needs, Comic Relief, and now we're here right now. What actually drives you? What are Will Day's passions and what drives you?
Well, many years ago I started working in Africa on the famines that were affecting East Africa in the early 1980s. And it really was brought home to me firstly how connected we are, that things that happen over there have a direct impact on us here and vice versa. The things we do here affects other people. So that was the first kind of realization. The second was that the world is a very unfair place in lots of ways for huge numbers of people, and that it was also a completely wonderful place, and if we weren't careful we were going to destroy it. So there was a sort of something needs to be done sense about it. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that things needed to get fixed, like the politics and the economics and our understanding of the environment. And when you start to unpick those things, then it kind of narrows down your choices as to who does what best. What is it that the government needs to do? What is it that we need to do as individuals? What is it that companies, can and should do? So I still struggle with those questions. I don't know the answers, but at least I'm trying to resolve them. I feel incredibly privileged because the job I've been asked to do is to be a kind of insider-outsider. So the Commission is independent of government, which is unusual. I've got a group of commissioners who are incredibly talented individuals across a whole wide range of fields, and our job is to look at what government does and to help it do things differently, to help it ask different questions of itself, and then to scrutinise it and say, hey guys, you're not doing what you said you were going to, or had you thought about doing it differently? So do I have a vision of that? Yes, my vision is that we have a healthy working relationship with a government that wants to make good decisions, and we can help them do that.
Ask you, what are your views on the Transition Town movement? I assume you've heard
Yeah,
of it.
I have, absolutely. Transition towns are really interesting. In fact, I'm going to go, my holiday coming up, I'm going to go quite close to one of them, Prestine.
Oh, right.
Okay, so I think transition towns interesting because basically people, individuals are sitting down or standing up and getting round tables and saying, we want things to change, we want to do stuff. And they're doing it. They're not waiting for people to do it to them. They're not waiting to be told what to do. They're saying, no, we want a better bus route. We want an allotment. We want to get on with it. And they're taking those decisions into their own hands. And I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Are you a bit of a green-fingered person yourself?
Not really. I'm an amateur gardener and an amateur chicken keeper, and I'm about to become an amateur beekeeper. So I'm learning the hard way most of those things.
What have you been growing in your garden?
So my garden, this year I've grown sweet corn for the first time. I noticed your sweet corn here because my younger daughter demanded that I did.
Okay.
And in the tunnel house I've grown a big pepper crop this year. My son's just back from university and he likes spicy food, as do I. And so he and I can enjoy our peppers. And of course the obvious lettuces, carrots, potatoes, first crop potatoes and so on. So it's a fairly decent garden actually, which keeps me outdoors and fit and healthy, or rather less fat and flabby than I would otherwise be. We have a general election. We have to have a general election by the summer next year, and I'd love to think that sustainability and the issues around a more sustainable future will be part of the conversation around a general election. I've got 3 teenagers at home and they'll be voting in a general election for the first time. And I'd love to think that they will make Firstly, I love to think they'll vote. I think we each have a responsibility to do that, and that they will engage in the process. They won't vote unthinkingly. They will think about it, ask the right questions, and put a vote where they think a party will be making the best long-term decisions for us all. They're things that they will inherit because they're much younger than me, and we need to be starting that process now.
Wonderful.
One of the excellent tricks that the Native Americans taught the early settlers in the United States was the Three Sisters, where you plant maize, and underneath, in between the maize, you plant beans, and then you also plant squash or pumpkins, and you plant them all together. The beans fix nitrogen. The corn uses the nitrogen that the beans fix, so you don't need to fertilize it as much. And the squash uses the corn stalks to climb up and grow because it's a sprawling climbing vine. So you basically get 3 crops for the price of one field.
Symbiosis.
It's a fantastically collaborative model. Plenty to learn from that. So.